Good evening, everyone. It is November 1st, 2023, and we had a nice green session again. Finally, getting in some volume as expected with the FOMC session today. In regards to that, we had JPOW saying pretty much as expected, rates just doing what they're doing. No talk about. I think there wasn't any talk about quantitative easing or anything like that. Just everything kind of falling in line with expectations. I think the JOLTS data didn't come out so great. Not sure about the non-farm employment change. I think that was I can't recall how that went, but I remember the JOLTS wasn't so great. Um, Here's what I'm thinking: the COT report was showing retail and large specs, so hedge funds and those fellas, both who are usually fades. They were getting long as of Tuesday's close last week. So that's over here when we were ramping. Then we had a nice sell off. Once again, Monday and Tuesday come in. So what I'm thinking is, with these green days, with it becoming, this was sort of the buy the dip zone I think everyone was looking at, kind of around 410, the middle or top of that balance. This was kind of the area everyone had in mind, 410 to 418, somewhere around here. That was the area of interest. If the narrative has been that we'll get some sort of Santa rally, and on top of that, we've been getting these lower volume sessions. And the COT was showing people who we usually like to fade are getting long. I think this eventually becomes a sell. Whether that's tomorrow after the Apple earnings, whether that's Friday after NFP, I've got no real idea. Um, we had a high close today for the second day in a row in the S&P. If we broke that low today, sometime tomorrow, I would be looking for a short. I would get short there upon the break. I'm still long the Dow for what it's worth. I'm long here off that low, which is equal to Friday's high. Managed to peel some off for 1R, and now I'm going to wait until Friday's COT data can show up. Personally speaking, I'm not looking too much on the short side until we can build some structure above us. What's that mean? Well, tomorrow, maybe let's just before I get into tomorrow, again, Russell finding some bids here, Dow moving on upwards, Nasdaq upwards. Again, all mediocre volume, right? Anyway, let's move on to what I was going to say, which is, let me pull up a chart. Regular trading hours. All right. Hopefully you guys can see this. There we go. I need to wait until we start to build some structure above us. Right now, here's Globex. Turn off all these indicators and crap. 30-minute chart. Look where we're trading. Usually, if you wanted to see a fade, you would have wanted to see a high close followed by Globex not being able to trade above that close, not being able to trade above that high. Instead, here's the 3:30 p.m. close right here, 43.56 half. Where's the open? Over here, the low is 57-ish, 58. So far, all of Globex for the past, whatever that is, 3.5 hours has traded, pretty much vertically. That looks like a nice trend line to me, right? Something, I'm not the best at trend lines here. There you go. Something like that, right? Uh, this is not a short scenario to me. So in regards to tomorrow, I'm not going to be looking at taking this thing short. We will be opening above all the structure. We'll be opening, and by the way, we also closed the S&P, the Nasdaq, and the Dow all closed above value area highs. So we're getting these high closes followed by continuation. We're not getting high closes followed by an open inside of value. We're not getting a high close followed by Globex not being able to trade above the close. We're getting high closes followed by upward movement in Globex. So for tomorrow, who knows where we open based off of right now at 9:30, but we are likely to open above value area high. We're going to almost certainly open above settlement highs. previous day's open, settlement open, previous day's lows, settlement lows, all this sort of shit. We're opening above all the major structure. So I'm going to be biased long tomorrow. Uh, let's go on to a chart of the S&P of the cash here. I need to retitle some of this stuff, but here you go. I'm going to be looking at us getting into last week's high, somewhere around here, at minimum. Anywhere from here, and I would be surprised if we can dip below kind of the IB high from today. There we go. That's what I'm going to be looking at. I'm going to be targeting last week's high, if not this kind of 426 to 427 area, and then we can see what we get from there. Yeah, 426, 427. That's roughly the lows of that early June balance we had back in the summer there, and where we had some supply show up that day and then sell off. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm biased long. I imagine we hold somewhere around here, this kind of 420 to whatever you want to call it, IB mid to IB high on the S&P. I imagine the Nasdaq similarly. I imagine this thing holds kind of the IB high to whatever this is, some sort of FOMC high sort of thing. I imagine we hold there, even if we break down to kind of the IB mid, the overnight high, this kind of opening range high. I think this holds as well, and I don't think this really becomes a sell. I think you want to be buying dips throughout the entire way here. Dow Jones, Dow struggling a little bit more right now during this Globex session, but there you go, trading at the weekly high, trading above the close, and looks like it'll take out the today's RTH high. Oops, didn't mean to show that. I'll be biased long on the Dow as well, right? We came into this balance I was talking about. I kept talking about I was targeting the ties of this balance. Kind of last week's high area was where I was looking for us to get into today. We've done it. I imagine this holds for tomorrow, somewhere around here. Maybe you slip down a little bit. Yeah, maybe you slip down to kind of 332-ish where these wicks are, but in general, I'm looking for a hold of here. I think we break up above, and I think we get into this balance right over here, this sort of thing. Yeah, somewhere around here. Whether it's a sell here, or whether it moves on forward up to there, I'm not too sure. But in general, I'm leaning along. Anyway, hope that makes sense. Hope that helps. I am long biased. We have on unemployment data 8:30. We've got Apple earnings after the bell. I think at 4:30. I would personally, not financial advice, whatever, but I would personally recommend going flat by 3. I'm not sure what sort of hedges need to come off or this or that coming into the close, so just something to be aware of ahead of such a big market moving stock. Anyway, have a great night. Trade safe.